Ms. Calhoun's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While we're getting ready in the balcony, I just want to tell you there's 3 P's that you always talk about here at the General Assembly if you haven't heard them. When you're working, it's being present, being persistent, and being patient. And I'm going to give Ms. Laura Hudson the award for being patient, persistent, and present for this award today. Any honorary victim advocate on the floor is welcome to come up here and join me. Mr. Speaker and members, it gives me great pleasure to recognize Ms. Laura Hudson, who is escorted by family, Lexington Councilman's Darrell Hudson and his lovely wife Gay and their daughter Mackenzie, Chuck and Cindy Hudson, grandson Jackson Slade Daly. We also have our sheriff, Jay Kuhn, there, and many other advocates across the state who either work in our public institutions or a public entity or a nonprofit, or they volunteer, but they are also escorting Ms. Laura Hudson today. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Laura is no stranger to the State House or its proceedings. While we have not seen her roaming the block building and sitting in the lobby these days with her file box and her rollers, she continues to keep an eye on victim legislation and funding for victim assistance programs. I'm going to take a moment and just say Ms. Hudson took significant time from her role to care for her late husband, Bob Hudson. Thank you. For years, Ms. Hudson has dedicated her professional career to being the voice for public policy for crime victims, not only speaking on bills during criminal law subcommittee meetings and requesting funding, but a regular on local TV stations responding to the impact of criminal and juvenile legislation that impacts victims of crime. In each of our districts, there are victim advocates, victims, and victims' families, as well as various levels of law enforcement that can attest to Ms. Laura's steadfast support and unwavering advocacy. She continues to work with crime victim programs and nonprofit organizations on victim assistance matters. I'm proud to say that during my career, as the Deputy Director of the South Carolina Commission on Prosecution Coordination, I have worked with Ms. Hudson on crime victims assistance. We passed the Victims' Bill of Crime. We also provided funding, both state level and federal. We have taken those funds here in the state of South Carolina and transformed South Carolina to a crime victims friendly state. We have taken care of these victims. And I have to say that there were times that we had healthy discussions on the qualifications on who could attend pretrial intervention. Today, as members of the General Assembly, we continue to support victim assistance programs both directly and indirectly. Mr. Speaker, at this time I respectfully ask that the reading clerk read from the House resolution certain excerpts.
That's pretty slick, Ms. Calhoun, how you avoided reading it and got him to read it. That's pretty slick. But here's some water for you in the meantime.
Thank you.
Mr. Cromer is recognized briefly.
A concurrent resolution to recognize Laura Slade Hudson for her years of dedicated service. Whereas her lifelong career began as an advocate for crime victims in 1982 when she founded Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, and for the first decade was a legislative liaison for 12 years. Her efforts have not been limited to victims of alcohol-related crimes. She's served as the South Carolina Assistance Network for Victims Assistance from 94 to 2000. Continues to work for Cadre Child Fatality Advisory Board since 1998. Her effectiveness in public advocate for crime victims is evident through the success she has in initiating or shepherding through the General Assembly more than 150 pieces of DUI legislation, 25 child protection bills, 10 pieces of CDV legislation, and more than 85 compensation and services and bills concerning crimes of victims in general aspects. She has informed and shaped public policy, serving the Highway Patrol Task Analysis Committee, as well as various other governor's task forces. She has educated the public, been a great instructor to the University of South Carolina, a guest speaker at the Criminal Justice Academy, and an instructor of the South Carolina Victims Assistant Basic Training Institute. Whereas, as a traffic accident victim advocate, she procured a grant to create the first highway patrol advocacy program in the nation and was responsible for raising $48,000 as a gift from MAD to the South Carolina Highway Patrol for its in-car video cameras. Whereas, as a wife, stepmother, foster mother, and grandmother, she has found the time and energy to help countless victims and assist legislators in their duties. As a Christian, she considers her work a ministry. She is honored by many countless awards. Be it resolved with the Senate concurring that we honor her today.
Congratulations, Ms. Hudson. Thank you for all your work.